Greetings to everyone and welcome to today's internal awareness session. This presentation aims to explain Al-Masood Energy's hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control and highlight its importance to Al-Masood employees.
The contents of the presentation will include the following: awareness objectives and deliverables, hierarchy, what is hazard, what is risk, what is consequence and likelihood, hazard identification, identify hazards on the image, hazard categories, identify workplace hazards, risk assessment process, evaluating the risk, record findings and implementation, job safety analysis, risk control measures, conclusions. The objectives of this awareness session is to enable Al-Masood Energy employees to identify potential workplace hazards, assess associated risks, and implement effective control measures to minimize or eliminate those risks, ensuring a safer and more compliant work environment. The deliverables of this awareness session is to ensure that Al-Masood Energy employees can identify potential hazards, physical, chemical, biological, ergonomic, psychosocial, in the workspace. Assess identified hazards based on their likelihood and severity. Use risk matrix to prioritize which hazards need immediate attention. Follow control measures to eliminate or reduce risks, example engineering controls, administrative procedures. Utilize PPE, personal protective equipment, when necessary. Report any gaps or issues in risk control measures for continuous improvement. All employees must be aware of hazard risk controls, what is their role, and how to contribute effectively. HARAC stands for Hazard Identification, Risk Assessment, and Risk Control. It's a systematic process used to identify potential hazards in the workplace, assess the risks associated with those hazards, and implement controls to mitigate or eliminate those risks to ensure a safe work environment. What is a hazard? A hazard is a situation or condition with the potential for harm in terms of human injury or ill health, damage to property, damage to the environment, or a combination of these. What is risk? A risk is the chance at something happening that will have an impact upon objectives. Risk is measured in terms of consequences and likelihood. What is a consequence? It is the outcome of an event or situation. Usually a loss or injury to people, plant, equipment, or the environment. What is the likelihood? It is the chances or probability of a hazard causing an event. What is hazard identification? Hazard identification is the process in which the hazards of a workplace are identified within a system, procedure, or equipment. It is the foundation for developing safe work procedures, establishing prevention programs and making other precautions to eliminate or control the hazards. This is an example of an operation workshop that has many hazards. Can you spot the risks and hazards? There are 8 hazards found in the operation workshop. One employee can be seen lifting a heavy load without any instrument support such as a trolley. One technician is performing hot works critical activity near a flammable chemical drum. One employee performing welding critical activity without proper PPE protective face shield and gloves. Oil spillage on the ground, which is a slip hazard. Electrical cable hazard where there is no insulation for the electrical wires. One technician is using the high-pressure air to dry himself, which is a pressure hazard. And lastly, the technician that is using the drums instead of a proper ladder to work at height. This is another example of a workshop with hazard situation. There are many hazards that can be seen in this example. Starting with the employee wearing blue apron, who is seen assisting his colleague to carry a heavy and sharp glass, and is not wearing proper PPE gloves to protect his hands, which is causing his hands to bleed. Adjacent to him is a technician wearing red, and is walking beyond the barricaded zone without notice. The technician wearing green can be seen working on a machine without proper safety gloves, and there are metal scrapes from the machine, which is a hazard of poor housekeeping in that area. The handling tools table also has poorly maintained housekeeping, where tools are not in proper place and coffee mug can be seen on the table too, which is not allowed. Hazard categories refer to different classifications of potential hazards that can be present in a workplace or environment. These categories help identify the specific types of risks employees may face. Identifying and managing hazards from each category is essential for ensuring a safe working environment. Common hazard categories include gravity, motion, mechanical, electrical, pressure, temperature, chemical, biological, radiation, and sound. Motion or acceleration hazards occurs when any object is being set in motion or its speed increased. Biological hazards of harmful bacteria, viruses, fungi, and molds are becoming a greater concern to everyone at work. Chemical reactions can be violent, can cause explosions, dispersion of materials and emission of heat. Electrical hazards, exposure to electrical current. Ergonomics, the nature of the work being done may include force, posture, position of operation characteristics that require hazardous lifting, lowering, pushing, pulling, and twisting. Flammability and fires. Accidental fires are commonplace because fuel, oxidizers, and ignition sources are often present in the workplace. Heat and temperature. Temperature indicates the level of sensible heat present in a body. Massive uncontrolled flows of heat or temperature extremes in either can cause trauma, illness. Mechanical hazards. Tools, equipment, machinery, and any object may contain pinch points, sharp points and edges, weight, rotating parts, stability, ejected parts, and materials that could cause injury. Pressure. Increased pressure in hydraulic and pneumatic systems. Pressure may cause ruptures in pressure vessels, whipping hoses. Small and high pressure leaks may cause serious injuries. Radiation. Electromagnetic radiation hazards vary depending on the frequency, wavelength, of the energy. Generally, the higher the frequency, the more severe the potential injury. Non-ionizing, ultraviolet, visible light, may cause burns. Ionizing radiation has the potential to destroy tissue by dislodging electrons from atoms making up body cells. Toxics, a material that in small amounts may cause injury to skin and internal organs, is considered toxic. Toxics may enter through inhalation, ingestion, absorbed or injected. Vibration/noise, produce adverse physiological and psychological effects. Whole body vibration is a common hazard in the trucking industry. Segmental vibration and noise hazards exist when working equipment such as jackhammers. There are 5 basic methods you can use to identify workplace hazards. Informal observations, and formal observation programs. Comprehensive company-wide surveys. Individual interviews. Walk-around inspections. Documentation review. Risk assessment process is a teamwork process that involves the identification, evaluation, and estimation of the levels of risks involved in a situation, their comparison against benchmarks or standards, and determination of an acceptable level of risk. It is summarized as the following steps. Step 1. Identify the hazards around you. Step 2. Decide who might be harmed and how. Step 3. Evaluate the risks and decide on control measures. Step 4. Record the findings and implement them. Step 5. Review the assessment and update if necessary. Identifying the hazard involves the following. Inspect the workplace. Talk to workers. Check injury records. Check safety hazard log. Get expert advice. Review codes. Who might be harmed and how. For each hazard you identify, list all the groups of people who may be affected. For each hazard you identify, list the way in which each hazard would get harm to our workforce. When it comes to evaluating a risk, we use a tool called the Risk Assessment Matrix to evaluate and prioritize risks based on two factors, likelihood and severity. The matrix helps organizations determine how significant a particular risk is and which ones should be addressed first. The matrix typically consists of a grid, where the rows represent the likelihood, probability, of a risk happening. The columns represent the severity, impact, of the risk if it were to occur. Each cell in the matrix represents a different risk level, often categorized as low, medium, or high. The severity scale measures the impact or consequences if a particular risk were to occur. It is ranked according to the severity measures starting from notable, signifies, minimal impact, or no significant effect on operations. Minor, where some minor disruptions, but manageable. Serious, where noticeable or considerable impact but can be handled with effort. Major, significant impact occurred, so it requires significant resources to mitigate. Catastrophic, severe consequences, which leads to major disruption or loss. And disastrous, effect causes disruption to operations, financial losses, or harm to employees, clients, or the environment. It may take considerable time and effort to recover. The second matrix scale is the likelihood scale, measures the probability that a particular risk will occur. It's often ranked on a scale from 1 to 6, where 1, rare, the risk has not occurred in worldwide industry. 2, unlikely, the risk is possible but not expected or occurred. 3, possible, the risk has occurred at least once in the group company. 4, likely, the risk has occurred at least once in the group company but not inside. 5, very likely, the risk has occurred once or more in the group company. 6, almost certain, the risk has occurred more than once inside. Record findings and implement them. Write down the results of your risk assessments and share them with relevant staff and others. Keep it simple. You need to be able to show that a proper check was made. You considered who and how might be affected. The precautions are reasonable and the remaining risk low. You involved your staff or their representative in the process. Job safety analysis. It is a systematic process used to identify, evaluate, and control hazards associated with specific job tasks or operations. JSA is crucial in high-risk industries where safety is a major concern. The primary goal of job safety analysis is to ensure that employees are aware of potential hazards in their tasks and have a clear understanding of the safety procedures and precautions needed to prevent accidents and injuries. The following is a sample JSA form which includes the following components: job title and description, date of analysis and location, task steps, broken down in detail, hazards associated with each task step, risk assessment, likelihood and severity, control measures and safety procedures, persons involved in the job, required PPE and equipment, approval and sign-off. While JSA and risk assessment both aim to identify and manage risks, they are different. JSA is focused on specific tasks or jobs and breaks them down into individual steps to identify hazards. Risk assessment is a broader process that evaluates potential hazards within a system or project, considering all possible risks, example environmental, organizational. Risk control measures are actions or activities that are taken to prevent, eliminate, or reduce the occurrence of a hazard and risk that you have identified. The hierarchy of controls is a framework used to minimize or eliminate workplace hazards, ordered from most effective to least effective. Elimination, remove the hazard entirely, example remove a dangerous machine. Substitution, replace the hazard with something safer, example use non-toxic chemicals. Isolate, hazards should be isolated from personnel. Engineering controls, modify the work environment to reduce exposure, example install ventilation systems or machine guards. Administrative controls, change work practices and policies, example rotate workers, implement safety training. Personal protective equipment, PPE use protective gear, example gloves, helmets, respirators, to safeguard workers. The hierarchy prioritizes eliminating or controlling hazards at the source rather than relying on PPE, which is considered the least effective measure. As an employee at Al Masood Energy, it is very important for you to be aware of the risks involved in your work and use the aware approach, to be alert to potential hazards. Watch for signs of fatigue. Stay attentive to the task at hand. Be ready to assist others, and remain engaged in working safely to prevent accidents and ensure a safe environment for all. Always remember, safety is a full-time job and a near miss today could be an accident tomorrow, therefore you must be reporting all near misses and any unsafe situation you encounter. In conclusion, we hope that each of you feel more empowered and equipped to contribute to Al Masood Energy's framework effectively. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to carry the knowledge learned today into your daily practices and strive for excellence in all that we do. This presentation has highlighted the importance of proactive hazard identification, the analysis and evaluation of risks associated with exposure to those hazards, ensuring that Al Masood Energy employees understand how to properly identify, assess, and take immediate attention and control measures if hazard occurs. Your commitment to Al Masood Energy's hazard detection is integral to our collective success in order to uphold the standards of safety and environmental responsibility that defines our organization. Proactively identifying hazards before they cause harm helps to reduce the risk of accidents and injuries in the workplace, creating a safer work environment to you and your co-workers. Let's continue working together to make a positive impact and drive excellence across our organization. Following this awareness session, please take a moment to complete the training evaluation questionnaire. Kindly submit your responses to HSE department for our records. Thank you.